Nya 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 nya. How's it going, guys? My God, I'm feeling that I'm going a little bit old now, cause I got all these diseases just gathering up on me. So first the kidney stone, then the gastritis, which I'm feeling a lot better now because it came out on a Saturday. I'm in the middle of nowhere and I can't get pills, but now thankfully I managed to acquiesce on pills. But what's even worse is that sometimes my eye is acting up. I got this dry eye syndrome, right? Because I spend a lot of time in front of the computer. So yesterday, my wife asked me, "Hey, do you still need this eye medicine? Because like I haven't used it in a year." I'm like, "No, throw it away." And she threw it away, and now my eye is acting up literally the next day. What the fuck is going on? But hopefully I can do a very entertaining stream for you guys and manage to keep you with your smiles on for the next hour. By the way, before this, I've been watching the War of Tomorrow, I believe it's called. No, Tomorrow's War. Yes, Tomorrow's War, it's called. Yeah. So I watched the first half of it because I had to stop in order to do this. So I still have another half left to go, but I gotta say it's a fucking amazing show. I mean, I'm enjoying it. Haven't enjoyed the movie as much as that one for a long while. Pretty sure I'm going to hear that Mahler doesn't like it or something like that because there's like at the fifth frame there is a gun and he didn't reach out for it and whatever. I don't know. But I know the critics hate it, and it's an interesting one. I can recommend it. Okay, if you want to watch Tomorrow's War, it's a beautiful movie. I don't think you can say it's bad. I generally don't. All right. So there you go. Now, what should we talk about? Should we get into the nitty gritty or should we wait for more people to come in? If you got any questions for me, now's the time. I'll answer them in a bit. It's Mahler was not a fan. Of course, he's not a fan. I mean, honestly, the level of criticism EFAP has to movies make it unrealistic. Like you can't even have drama in movies anymore. They started with the right idea. It's like movies should be logical, consistent, and you need some narrative coherence in the movies. I get that. But now they're moving away from that, and it's more like unless the character does the optimal action in every single situation, then it's illogical. So, for example, if they look at The Mandalorian and the Mandalorian is fighting 10 guys and one of them punches the Mandalorian in the helmet, they're like, why is he doing that? That is not logical. Why is he punching the guy in the helmet? And it's like, dude, have you ever been in a street fight? Like, people don't always do the optimal situation. Like, sometimes when the adrenaline's rising and people are caught off guard, they can actually punch someone in the helmet. Like, what the hell? It's just, I should get an EFAP and just look at it and I can show you guys what I mean. If I just talk out of my ass, then people go like, no, V, you're wrong. And then they strawman me and they gaslight me. And I hate it. I hate it. Yeah, the standard is way too high. It's pretty much like watching Indiana Jones where he goes into the temple and he takes the treasure and the boulder starts falling. And they would be like, so you're telling me that for like 1,000 years that temple was there and it managed to stay through the passage of time? Like none of the systems that encompass the trap got rusty. None of the systems just accidentally set up at the nearest earthquake. Why is the trap designed like that? Why did they make a boulder just slowly run? Why not just close the door and make it so that the person can't get out? Like, what is that? You know, and it's like, okay, but if you have those standards, you can't make any drama or tension. Because a lot of the movies are about the drama and the tension, right? Again, they started off with the right idea, like movies should have internal consistency and have some logic built on them. Like, for example, in Star Wars, you can't just have one ship go through warp speed and do a warp kamikaze because it breaks the entire thing. Like, why aren't all the ships doing that? Why don't you have missiles doing that, right? So, I get that. No, that's accurate criticism, logical consistency, but sometimes the movie might be logical, consistent in its own universe, but because it's not optimal, or because, again, it's like it's cool to have a temple, but it's not realistic. I mean, you're not going to have a temple that's 1,000 years old with death traps in it, okay? That's Indiana Jones thing. They're going to complain about it. So, anyway. Do you think I should bring my kids to watch the old Superman movies? So the old Superman movies are actually very interesting, especially the third one, I believe, where they're really against nuclear weapons. Like the last Superman movie is such a propaganda film, it's unreal. The whole story is about how a kid from school writes to Superman a letter that he doesn't like nuclear weapons, and Superman goes to the United Nations, has a speech, says nuclear weapons are bad, and then everyone claps and cheers, and they all decide to throw away their nuclear weapons. And Superman takes all the nukes and throws them into the sun. And I'm thinking, okay, congratulations. Now that you got rid of the nuclear deterrent, aren't people just going to have basic bitch regular warfare like they have for the last thousands of years? But no. But anyway, right? Like that's the point. That is a bad movie. Like that one genuinely doesn't have any logical consistency, right? That it's not logical. Like, okay, so if they threw away their nuclear weapons, like why would everyone just agree? And if they did, why wouldn't they just attack each other? Like, doesn't make sense. Although, like in a way, maybe it does make sense, because if you have Superman on a planet and he's actually guaranteeing peace, and if you're a nation that goes to war, Superman will fuck up your ass, then maybe that is, I don't know, maybe in Superman's universe that would make sense. You probably wouldn't have Cold War in Superman. I mean, think about it. Like, he actually is the deterrent. I mean, who would go to war against America when they have Superman? There's literally no way. Like, you would need to be crazy to do that. You would lose. There's nothing you can do about it. So anyway, right. Don Lemon is in the chat. Okay, let's talk about something interesting. So, in the United States, there is apparently an organization that's called the National Security Division. And it's part of the Department of Justice. Now, you might be wondering, what is the National Security Division? Like, what exactly are they doing? Well, they were initially built in order to take out terrorists, right? So they were supposed to gather information about people that wanted to blow up skyscrapers, people that would create massacres, like bad people. I think it was created during the Bush era, right? But now it's being repurposed. Now it's got a new job, and its new job is to go after those evil parents that are threatening the school board. Now, I do know that there are a couple of incidents where parents did get a little bit upset at the school boards. That is true, but I've never seen anything that the local police couldn't handle. I mean, the local police, from what I know, is very capable. Or maybe this is, the thing. It's like, okay, we're going to defund the police, and now that there is no more police, we have to use the next thing available. So instead of using the scalpel, we're going to use the hammer. We're going to send in the National Justice. Okay, so apparently they're also going to investigate the parents that are a little bit upset on the school boards. And the Justice Department will also create specialized training and guidance that will help school boards members understand the type of behavior that constitutes threats. Okay, so you see, there are certain things which are threats, but the school teachers are just too dumb. They do not know how to recognize them. So now, through the kindness of the government, they will teach the teachers to understand what is a threat. Does that make sense to you? It's to me, it sounds like it's a propaganda arm, but that would be misinformation, so I'm not going to put it. But like, no, seriously, like, you would think an average person would be able to identify what is and what isn't a threat. But luckily, the government is going to help the people who just don't know what is better. All right, so I understand that the parents are very evil, and I hate to give a little bit of screen time to bigots, but here goes.
I think understanding that they are not kidding. This is not going away. The enemy has no chill and is advancing forward as fast. We can see it. I mean, you're at home trying to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for your kids, and the FBI could be knocking at your door because you might have said the wrong thing at a school board meeting. These people, they are serious. They want to silence us and shut us down. I really think at this point The only thing to do is have a mass exodus from the public school system. That's it.
See, how can she suggest something so awful and bigoted? She wants to deprive students of an education that is beyond horrible. Now, apparently, the Republicans, the most evil party in the world, is trying to introduce a bill to abolish Federal Department of Education. Look at the evil in the world. You're looking at evil right here. If you're staring at the screen, this is evil. Now, unfortunately, the bill has been proposed, but fortunately, the Republicans probably don't have the numbers to do it. So still, you know, it's good that we're safe. We're safe from the evilness that they would have otherwise unleashed onto the world. So you get I think I had a couple of more. Oh my God, did I close it? Shit, I closed it. There was a person explaining what CRT was. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was here. Let's see if I can try it one more time. If I can't find it right away, I'll just have to go to the next thing. Yeah, it's really upsetting. You had a person on Fox News explaining exactly what CRT is and why she isn't standing for it. It was such a raging bigot. You know what? I'm actually glad that I don't have it, because if I did, I would have platformed yet another bigot, and that is the least thing I want to do on this show. You know, I don't like platforming bigots. Imagine not trusting the experts. Imagine not trusting the people that know what's good for you. So we got another thing from HKR, a super chat. This isn't evil, that's based. No, HKR, you just don't know the difference between evil and based. So we got a mom who survived Mao's Cultural Revolution having a speech.
And our history. Growing up in Mao's China, all this seemed very familiar. The communist regime used the same critical theory to divide people. The only difference is they use class instead of race. This is indeed the American version of the Chinese Cultural Revolution. The critical race theory has its roots in cultural Marxism. It should have no place in our schools.
And down in the great state of Florida.
And there was like other people, like a Muslim woman that was also talking about it and why she is against it. Thank you, Cameron. And my memory is always jogging, Cameron, just so you know. So there is an active push against this, it seems. And it's very interesting to see how the strong arm of the state is responding. And my money, as always, is on the strong arm of the state, because the state is strong. You know, they talk about gender roles and how it's evil to have expectations of men and women. Well, I'm going to use another term like gender roles for the state, gender role for the government. The government needs to be strong. It needs to have weapons because it needs to defend people, and it needs to be a good provider. That's what the government does. The government needs to be compassionate, to take money away from some people and give it to others, because the government is the only one that's wise enough and smart enough. The government needs to be the husband. The government needs to be the daddy. The government needs to be the nanny. It has to be all these things, and the government needs to be intelligent. It's the only one that should have gender roles. He, him, the government. What, actually, they, them? Oh, no, that is, sorry, no, that's far right speaking. No, you can't say they, them. When it comes to the government. But, let's look at something else, right? So now, as you guys know, the climate is very important, right? The climate is changing. It's creating a crisis. And people are protesting. Do you know who people are protesting? They're not protesting in front of the city hall. They're not protesting in front of the corporations that are polluting. No, they're protesting you, the average Joe. Because it's your fault, right? It's not the fault of the corporations. It's not the fault of the companies. It's not the fault of the politics. No, it's your fault, bigot. And here we have some people which apparently had enough. So you get like a couple of protesters, decent people. You have the Planeteers here, which are trying to stop cars, and the drivers are pulling them away from the road. Look. And they're pulling them softly, so there's no violence. They're just dragging them away like children. But, you know, like the Planeteers, they were 5 special young people. Young people, special from the special forces, the Planeteers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is Wheeler, Kwani, Mati, Linka, and who else was there? Wheeler, Kwani, Mati, Linka. There was one more. Mati, Kwani? Who am I missing? Guy from China. It was Guy, right? So Mati, Wheeler, Linka, Guy, and Kwani. There we go. And these are the polluters. These are the villains that are pulling them away. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because if you went to work, you'd have polluted. I don't care what you did, but if you went to work, you'd have polluted. You need to stay home and stay safe. Save the NHS, motherfucker.
What's your job interview for?
For a skip driver.
Look, skip driver. How did I know? He was going to pollute. See, the Planeteers prevented this man from polluting. That is a good thing.
HGV drivers, I'm HGV. Just shortage of HGVs. Look at this lot. None of them work. They've all retired.
And you
Like, yeah, because the government is their father. The government is the husband. The government is the brother. The government gives them money. Look, you can stay home and the government will give you money as well. What's that? Like, if no one works, the government it can print money, motherfucker. The government is God, okay? Like, it can print money even if no one works. No one works, that's okay. They're going to bring immigrants and they're still going to make it happen. Why are you fighting this? Jesus, don't you care about the environment, dude? You like a beautiful butterfly before the transformation. What do butterflies transform from? Like, they go into a cocoon? Like, before the metamorphosis? He's a butterfly before takes down this video because I'm showing violence. I will be upset. There is no violence. They're smiling. They're happy. Everyone is cheering. Like, this is a fun activity. Anyway, government is God, capital G, and there is no other God, you heathens. Yeah, no, seriously, like back in the day, and I noticed this, it's very interesting, right? At least in my country, I don't know if it was the same in other places, but when my grandmother was having issues, like she was having difficulties, they would pray to Jesus. They would pray to Jesus for salvation. I don't know if that's good or not. I'm just saying it's what happened, right? Now, people pray to the government. The problem is that the government is not ambiguous at all. Like, the government is very real, and sometimes it listens to your prayers. And when the government listens to your prayers, you would wish it didn't. Like, the solution of the government is always against you. No, seriously, like, I'm legitimately curious. Like, how many people are in the chat? All right, let's have a candid talk now. We've detected copyright audio and video in your stream. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. Did someone get kicked off my screen? Because... Okay. So, 200 people are watching this live stream right now. 200 people. How many of you... No, seriously, like, honest question. How many of you benefited from a government policy in the last 5 years? Like, press 1 if you did. Like there was something that the government did, and you're like, okay, you know, like, this worked in my favor. Because I'm really trying to think, like, the only one that I benefited in my entire life was when I went to university, you could say, but even then, like, my parents could have paid for my university, so it's not like it would have... I mean, it's nice because I went there. I went to law school for free. But my parents, if they save money from the day I was born, if they wouldn't pay taxes to the government, they could have paid the university bill for me. So I can't really say that I benefited from it. So we got 2 people out of 228. Okay, so what exactly did you benefit from? I'm not talking about roads, okay? I'm not talking about the police. I'm not talking about... But I'm talking about, like, a government policy that happened within the last 5 years and you benefited from it. Well, it's not really free university, Tactical Droid. Your parents paid for it. Like, just look at this, right? Look how much money you pay for university. I think in Romania it's 5%. Every wage you get 5%. And let's say you live all the way until you're 65. If you look at 5% from your wage until you're 65, it actually pays more than enough for your university. And if you take into account that you have 2 people in a household and both of you pay 5% to the government, you would probably save money if the government would just fuck off and leave you alone. Paper bags kill the rainforest. Plastic is the way. 1998. Yes, plastic kills the sea creatures. Paper bags is the way. I actually covered that in This Week is Stupid. But now let's put it a different way, okay? Now let's put it in a different... Press 1 if some government policy actually hurt you in the last 5 years. I mean, I can just say the gas tax hurted me, the lockdown measures hurt me, the VAT tax hurts me. Like, I can just go on and on and on. I don't think I'm going to stop. Like, if I'm thinking of government policies that were actually towards my detriment. Right, like they prevented me from doing something. It cost me money. It did something worse than if I were to do it myself. You know, I mean, if government is God, it's not a benevolent God. It's not Jesus Christ. It's more like Yahweh from the Old Testament. Look at this shit. Look. By the way, don't even try starting a business. Like, if you even try starting a business, you're going to have a bad time. Jesus. Even like with the menial shit that the government is trying to do. So in Romania, they actually have these things called raw alert. So let me show you how raw alert sounds like. And I don't even think you can turn it off. Oh, look, there are actually YouTube videos telling you how to stop them. So what raw alert is, it's this spyware on your, this malware, I would say. This malware on your phone. Installed to you by the government. And let me show you how it goes like. Come on, there must be a YouTube video with it. Ah, here we go. So this is how your phone does in the middle of the night at 3 fucking a.m.
Adăpostiți-vă de
Alright? Now imagine this shit. Like, you're sleeping or you're playing video. Oh, here we go. Not this is actually the one. Alright. So you're playing video games or you're sleeping, it's late at night. You're having like kuchi kuchi with your wife, and all of a sudden Now, just so you know, it's very loud. I mean, if your phone is set on low, this thing will still go off. And it goes like, and you're like, Jesus Christ, you know, like, is the government trying to kill me with a heart attack so I don't get COVID? Like, what is going on? And you look at it, and it's like the most dumb shit ever. It's like, it's snowing outside. Don't go out. It's windy outside. It's raining outside. Don't forget to social distance, because COVID. It tells you like the most dumb shit that you already know. Occasionally, it does tell you something interesting. Like, for example, it told me that there was a warehouse storing chemical stuff in my town which caught fire, and there's a lot of nasty smoke in the area, so I should avoid it. So, like, once it told me something that I would have wanted to know. But the government made it illegal to have phones that cannot have this shit. So literally, you know, like those old phones, like those old Nokias, you can't buy them in Romania anymore. The only way you can buy them is like if you get them secondhand, or if you actually travel outside of Romania and you buy it from Russia. Honestly, like a lot of people are speculating that maybe because the government can't listen in on those old phones, they use this way in order to get it out from people selling old phones. I don't know, but still, like, this is the government trying to help, right? Like, it's supposed to be a message so that everyone knows. I hate it. It's useless garbage. Let's see, what do we get? We got 2 super chats from Political Defiant. In the state of Washington, they are going to make natural gas illegal to install in new homes, meaning only electric. Oh my God, that is just so awful. So I'll tell you something, okay? Something funny. Recently, as you guys know, I moved into a new house. And everything I did, except for the heating, by the way, but everything else is electric, right? Because I thought it's like, all right, so they have the climate crisis bullshit, and you're going to get like more prices on gas. So I'm going to have an induction stove. I'm going to have an electric stove. I'm going to get like everything electric. First of all, like if you turn all the devices on, like let's say you're cooking and you're washing the dishes and you're washing the clothes, and you're playing video, chances are that the electricity is going to go pfft, and you're going to have to then flip the switch for the thing again, right? So that's one of the problems. But okay, like fine, just don't overcook. Like don't use the oven and the induction and the washing machine and play video game. Like, okay, don't do that. Okay, fine. But now the prices for the electricity is going up. Because guess what? For most people, electricity is that thing in the walls. In reality, it probably comes from a coal power plant. So the price of electricity is going up. And now I'm fucked, right? At least have, like thank God that I have gas to warm my house. But the problem is, like, there are people, there are dumbasses who have this thing. Imagine being so dumb to have this shit installed in your house. So this is an electrical heating, right? And you put it, and it uses electricity to heat the water in your house. Big mistake. Like, I know a guy who pays 3 times the amount of heating price I pay for my house, and he lives in a smaller apartment. The worst thing that you can do, it's the no, just do not. I don't know, like maybe if you're in a country like Germany and you get like your electricity from a nuclear power plant and the electricity is incredibly cheap, okay, but anywhere else, no. I got an alert last week at 5 a.m., but it was a tornado warning. 99% of the time it's for crap I don't care about. Okay, like if it's a tornado warning, I don't mind if they wake me up at 5 a.m. Fine, if it's a tornado warning that's literally in my vicinity and I need to get my ass into the basement, then fine, yes, wake me up. If it's, I don't know, like some earthquake that they detected 1 minute before it happens, wake me up, baby. Get me from on top of my wife. I don't care what you do, right? That's fine. But when they wake you up at 5 a.m. in order to tell you that there's COVID, I wish you could stuff your cock through the phone so it goes into the mouth of the person who sent that message. 907 service delivery protests since last year alone because the ANC can't deliver service. I did not know that. But to be honest, I don't know what the ANC is, and I don't even know what czars are. But thank you for the donation. The state of Washington banning people from doing things. In 2018, that phone alert system activated to inform Hawaiian residents that missiles were launched in their direction. Like, what the fuck are you going to do? Okay, so... Can you imagine that? Like 2018, peacetime, it's like, raw alert, there's missiles coming. What the fuck? Well, first of all, I guess they're going to panic, right? But secondly, if legitimately there were missiles coming, right? Let's say in my town, you could go in a basement if you have one. You could at least put clothes on you and get in the car. I mean, no, like that. There are certain things you can do, right? So I'm not against the idea. It's like, hey, by the way, there's missiles coming. If I was in, let's say, London, and there's like, oh, there's missiles coming, and depending like how much time you have in advance, like let's say you have an hour, I would probably go into the subway station if I lived in an apartment. But the thing is, like, if I knew in advance that there's an air raid or something like that, I would get dressed, I would have my money on me, and if I have a car, I would get in the car. And then I'm throwing the dice. If it happens that the missiles hit me, well, I guess there was nothing I could have done anyway. But if the missiles hit somewhere else, then at least I can drive away. I can get a head start. So no, I'm not against the idea of the alert system telling you that, hey, by the way, there's missiles incoming. Like, no, that's a good thing to know. You could lose it yourself in your basement. Yeah, I mean, there's other ways you can survive missile attack. And there used to be videos in the Cold War. It's like what to do in case of a nuclear attack. And apparently you should use the bathtub if you don't have like anything else, right? Like you're in an apartment and you don't have anything else. You can use the bathtub. But, see, the question is, and this is something that no one asks, how much do you want to live is the question, right? Because if you have the choice between dying right away or being buried in rubble and not able to get out, so the next 2 weeks you're going to sit in a bathtub where you're shitting and pissing and there's no possible way of you getting out of there, I don't know. Like, you might regret the decision. Believe it or not, you can actually survive nuclear attacks. Depending how far you are from the blast radius, of course. But like most of the news, it's like if you're into the area where you get the blast and you might get some radiation, but you're still alive. I mean, there are still some things you can do in order to protect yourself. Like someone wants to live even in that. I mean, I don't know. To me, the quality of life is more important than just living off. Yeah, like Loretta Ashley Smith. Why are women bringing common sense, so much common sense? In a nuclear war, the living will envy the dead. Yeah, pretty much. I agree. It's that thing where, yeah, I get it. Like, it's important to live on. But at what point is the quality of life making it not worth it? Like, you would wish you didn't. So Abdi Muhammad, look what the economist experts are saying. This is a news from Bloomberg, respectable journalistic outlet. America needs higher, longer-lasting inflation. Yes. Bring on Zimbabwe. Jesus Christ, are the bananas that fucking expensive in the US? I just did the conversion rate to Romanian currency. Like, my God, this is gold right here. Holy crap. I can't believe bananas are so expensive. The discount dildos are becoming quite expensive, man. Yes, you need it. Like, I really love the current establishment in the United States. They turn every loss into a win. Like, I'm actually waiting for the article that would say America just lost trillions of dollars of military equipment in Afghanistan, and that's a good thing. Like, I'm waiting for that at this point. Because everything that's bad, and it's bad, they're actually telling you no, they're gaslighting. No, that's a good thing. What are SGDs? That sounds like an assault rifle. Hello, V from Singapore. Okay, so Singapore dollars, I guess. You've been a bright ray of sunshine for me for many years. Really? I reached Singapore? I know my sun is shining all the way there, but I'm glad to hear it. Best of health to you and your new wife. Oh my God, I got blessings from Singapore. Let me buy a beer for each of you with this. Well, actually, turns out my gastritis might be activated if I drink alcohol, and that's a good thing. No, unironically, that's a good thing, because I started drinking. Not a lot, but I started drinking lately, and it's because I wouldn't get drunk anymore. Like, it used to be that I would whiff alcohol and I would get drunk. Then it used to be that I would get drunk from one beer. Then it used to be that I would get drunk from 2 beers. Now I can drink an entire bottle of wine and I don't get even tipsy. Like, I don't know what the fuck my liver is doing. It's obviously working on overdrive. And I couldn't get drunk, so I kept drinking and drinking and drinking. And one day, I woke up and I thought I was going to die because my entire stomach was hurting, was screaming in agony. And I was, okay, you know what? I'll stop drinking. Abdi Mohammed says, literally just privileged assholes who have never even, through their families' savings, being whipped out for good. The thing is, like, Thomas Sowell explains very well how the experts are doing. So the people who are experts, the ones in charge that get to write these opinion pieces, they don't get punished for being wrong. Like, there is no quality control for being an expert. If you look at, I don't know, like, okay, the war in Afghanistan. All right? There were actual people back in the day that were saying it's a bad thing, and then there were people pushing for it. The experts that said it's a good thing to go in are the same experts you hear from now. The people that were predicting what is going to eventually happen and were right, they're not being platformed. In other ways, like being an expert means you have to say the correct talking points. And as long as you say the correct talking points, you keep being an expert. Even if you're wrong. And even if you're wrong and it hurts people. So let's say, if you were a person that, there was the last market crash, the housing bubble, which crashed in the United States previously, right? If you are an expert that said, oh, by the way, like, don't worry about it. Everything is going to be fine. No, the economy is under control. No bad thing will happen. Just don't worry about it. And you are wrong, right? Because other people would not worry about it. They could have done some changes in their life in order to protect themselves from losing their job or losing their wealth or their savings. And they might not, like, there could have been actual consequences for the experts misinforming people. None of them lose anything. The media doesn't lose credibility, and everything is going fine. The experts that have said, by the way, things are not fine, maybe you should buy some gold, maybe you should change your savings, or blah, blah, blah. Those are the ones that probably don't get invited on talk shows. Inflation happened in Somalia during the civil war, and my grandpa lost all of his savings and nearly ruined him. He was smart enough to buy a shit ton of land. Yeah, so Romania experienced a really nasty inflation as well. I mean, just so you can understand, hyperinflation is the shit that ruins economies. I mean, it completely cripples nations. Very few nations come back after hyperinflation. I mean, hyperinflation is something that Americans probably can't wrap their mind around. Imagine going to the store at 8 a.m., and an apple costs $10, and then you go to the same store at 8 p.m. and the same apple costs $20. Like, can you imagine that? Okay, like that's what a hyperinflation looks like. And it's obviously, like, as I mentioned before, nation ruining shit, but it completely destroys your savings. So if you happen to have like any money in the bank, it's worthless. It's just paper. If you happen to save any money for your kids' college or to buy a car or to buy a house, it's worthless. The only advantage, I would say, is if you actually borrowed money and you have a rare loan that I don't think banks even give now anymore, but a rare loan that doesn't account for inflation. So you manage to get a loan and it's like on a fixed rate for the next 5 years. And then the banks get fucked if they do that, which is why they probably don't anymore. Because you can repay that loan in a day, right? If you have hyperinflation. But yeah, so inflation is awful because like everything just rises in price. It's like a secret taxation. It's still the government going into your bank accounts pretty much. All right, let's read one more. This one is something that the academic agent will probably love. I pegged my boyfriend and now he wants to be the girl. Kinky sex can be wonderful, but it won't fix your relationship. Why is there a thumbnail with a red hair looking at the sea? Is this supposed to be like an artsy thumbnail or something? It's like she pegged her boyfriend and is now contemplating walking into the sea. Like what? Is this like she's waiting for the seaman? Like what is going on with this thumbnail? Don't get it. So, my boyfriend and I were having relationship issues until we tried something new, pegging. Okay, so for the ones that don't know what pegging is, it's when the girl puts on a strap-on, aka a fake cock, and inserts it into the man's anus. And that's pegging. Ariel wants to go back home. Is that what it is? Is this the modern version of Ariel where she went to Ursula, but instead of wanting legs, she wanted something else? She wanted to be like the anime characters? he wanted to try it, but he was afraid and sometimes said the idea disgusted him. Why is she talking like a leftist? I don't get it. Like, either he wanted or he didn't want it. Like, what do you mean? Like, he wanted but no. But yes, but no. I don't get it. Like, make up your mind. Then we tried it, and it was better than normal vanilla or even kinky bondage sex. It was the emotionally connected thing we've ever had. I actually pegged him 3 times in 24 hours. He says now he wants to be the girl in our relationship. He doesn't want to transition to become a girl, but to be more the girl, sexually and emotionally. So here's something that I noticed with a lot of progressives, right? You're going to get articles from the mainstream media, and they will say, look, you can be a man and wear a dress. You can be a man and experience anal pleasure. Like, they will say this, right? So you can still be a man. But then when they see someone doing this, it's like, you're probably a girl, man. Why don't you transition? Did you notice this? They do this with kids especially. Like, you listen to some of the stories that parents say. It's like, yeah, my kid, I caught him using the lipstick. Therefore, he must be a woman. They do this to pets, unironically. Like, they will say, yeah, so my dog is peeing without lifting its leg, or my dog enjoys going to another male dog. And instead of, like, concluding that they're gay, or maybe the dog just pees weirdly, no, they must be a woman. So anyway, I've always taken care of him in a nurturing way, but this adds so much more. I feel bad about sending this long story just to ask a simple question, but how do I be more the guy for my boyfriend who wants to be the girl? Go and ask academic agent. Okay? Contact academic agent. Does he have a Twitter? I don't know. You need to contact him and ask him, look, I'm a woman. How can I be the man? Ask his community as well. They're very nice people. They will tell you. It's amazing the two found each other, says Kay Barrett, a trained anthropologist. What the fuck do anthropologists even study? Is it like the study of monkeys? What do anthropologist? What is the science? Is a person engaged in the practice of anthropology. Is the study of aspects of humans within past and present society. My God. Linguistic anthropology studies how language affects social life. Okay, so a studier of humans. He puts the humans under the microscope and studies them. Fascinating. They communicate and obviously create spaces to be vulnerable together and explore. What the fuck is vulnerable in this? One woman is putting a fake cock and pumping the man. Where is the vulnerability? Especially in today's America. Like, if you're in Iran, okay, that would have been vulnerable. Honestly, like, being intimate is vulnerable by itself, right? Like, you're exposing yourself naked in front of another person. I mean, if you're looking at it from a conservative standpoint, yes, intimacy is vulnerability. But what these people are doing is that there is nothing vulnerable about it. I mean, this woman is so brazen. She's writing in a mainstream publication. Where is the vulnerability? The ultimate form of begging is to be at home and let her earn 100% of the money while you just spend it. Oh man, that is so dominating. I agree. You know, I think feminism is the next step of the patriarchy. Like, convincing women that they need to work while you sit at home playing video games. That is taking patriarchy to the next level, and they don't know it. Just shush, shush, shush. The biggest danger, academic agent. He's going to ruin the whole gig. Like, he wants to tear down the system. Just need to shush, shush. Just don't tell him about it. See, Davida is getting it. Oh my God. I forgot. I got women in the chat. Now they know. Like, now the women in my chat are in the know. They will tell the other women, and they're going to ruin patriarchy 2.0. Divina, you need to get a job at McDonald's. Be a CEO. Get money, Divina. Anyway, you need to also bear in mind that pegging, while wonderful, won't solve your relationship issues. Unless, of course, the issue was your boyfriend feeling anxious about asking you to do it to him. If he was worried about walking back his previous comments or worries, you would judge, shame, or dump. Okay, so let me tell you something. Time to talk. While I do believe that intimacy plays an important role in a relationship, I don't think intimacy can make or break a relation. Unless, okay, no, well, actually, hold on, right? So, if you're a pencil dick, or you just, like have very small penis, or if the woman is large like a bus, I mean, there can be a couple of intimate relationships that, okay, but you would know about them since day one. But if you're with her for like several months, and you're having relationship issues, even if, let's say, you manage to fix it through sex, like you find something that you both like, and you take it to the next level, and all of a sudden the passion is going to go away in 1 year or 2 years. Because at one point, no matter how good the bed is, no matter how great it is, unless you have that something extra to keep you together, it's not going to work forever. So this might be like putting a little bit of adrenaline in the relationship, but after a while, the adrenaline runs off, and your body gets used to the adrenaline. So no, it's not something that you can fix a relationship with. Intimacy is just a band-aid, and it might go on for a couple more days, a couple more weeks or months or whatever, but eventually it's going to run off. See, what do you think, Divina? Is that Dr. Love, Dr. V giving good advice? Huh? That's something that a woman would say, wouldn't it? Peggy Sue got married. Sometimes you have to shame the article. Let's see what hold on, I need to see what Divina says. How long is the degeneration spiral? Well, like that's another thing, because now if they found this and they like this, then they're going to look at other things, like they're going to try to experience more and more. What was that about fetishes don't reflect the personal character? But it's true, it doesn't reflect the personal character, but we're not talking about this. What we are talking about is where a relationship that goes bad can be fixed through sex. I don't think it can be fixed. I think it's like putting a band-aid that's going to last for a couple more months, but eventually it's going to go back to the same problems you had before. So, but hey, you didn't ask about those other issues. So let's focus on you being the guy and your boyfriend being the girl. The boyfriend wants to be the guy in the relationships to reinforce his desire to be the girl. And she seems okay with this, although she doesn't acknowledge that this would require more than nurturing and caretaking. She's already shown towards him. That's a valid concern. His desire is to take the kink out of the bedroom and merge it with the day-to-day risks of turning her into a kink dispenser. There's also the aspect of the boyfriend's gender stereotyping. Being dominant isn't uniquely to men, and being submissive isn't a feminine trait. There are a lot of alpha men in FLR, so shine. Okay, let me tell you, okay? See? This anthropologist is talking shit. I will tell you how you can be the man in the relationship. Okay, so in order to be the man, woman, you have to be the provider. So you have to go to work and find a decent job and climb that corporate ladder. You need to be the best at what you do. Choose something and be the goddamn best at it. And then you climb the corporate ladder, and you don't care how many of your colleagues you leave behind. You use your colleagues as a ladder, so you step on them, and you step on them, and you go right to the top. And then you make a lot of money, and you buy an expensive car, and you go home to your husband, and you give him the money. And the husband does the grocery shopping, he cleans the home, he buys the food, he cooks the food, and he pleases you. That's how you be the man in the relationship. All right? You bring home the bacon. Your value is the bacon. That's how valuable you are. You earn $5,000, that's how valuable you are. You earn $1,000, that's how valuable you are. and you take care of all the problems. Everything that happens in the family, you don't bother your husband about it. You fix it. You think about the problem, you internalize it, and you fix it yourself. The mortgage is coming and you don't have to pay, you fix that. You find out where you're going to lend some money from, how you're going to earn a little bit on the side, how you're going to hustle. You don't bother your husband with that shit. And when you're out in the park, if something bad happens, whether it is someone trying to mug you, whether it is a dog attacking you or something like that, you position yourself right away between your husband and the danger. If you see someone breaking into your house, you're not the one calling 911. The husband is the one calling 911 while you get access to a bat, a defensive item, and you go downstairs to fix the danger while your husband safely cowers in the bedroom. That's how you beat the man. Huh? Did I explain it properly? Oh yeah, the spiders, of course. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think the spiders is a gender thing. Because if I see a spider, I scream and I call my wife. So, you know, like, there are some understandings that I have with my wife. It's like, I tell her, look, I do this and this and that. Like, if there's ever someone breaking into our house, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to fix it. You know, if there's ever someone that pulls a knife on us on the street, you run away, I'll hold him. Okay? But what I want you to do is that if I ever see a creepy crawly in the house, you're the one doing that shit. Don't forget to put up shelves and fix the toilet too. Yes. You know what you need to do? Let me show you. Hold on. This is what she needs to do. All right, right here. This is the expression as well, like the facial expression. Now, it's kind of funny because people are pointing out that this is staged, and I'm like, wow, no fucking shit. Maybe this is called, I don't know, a studio, and this is on, I don't know, television. Look how staged this is. It's like, yes. Why would you assume it's not? Oh no, the man on TV has it staged. What else do guys do, huh? Like how else do you be masculine? So you're a provider. You need to listen to your husband's bullshit. Like when your husband is coming to you and is like, so I went next to John this morning and John didn't even look at me and say hello. Like he just walked past me. And I'm worried, like, do you think John hates me? Like, what an asshole. Like, what do I do about it, Susan? John didn't say hello to me. And you need to look at your husband and go like, yes, you know, you need to provide emotional support. Like, yes, that is awful. You know what? We're not going to invite John at the next Thanksgiving dinner. Unless he apologizes. You don't go to him and you apologize. No, he needs to come to you and apologize. He's the one that needs to make the first step, not you. You didn't do anything wrong. Right? Like that, and when your husband comes with other bullshit and goes like, oh, well, you know, like the jeans that I bought, I noticed that when I put my belt, like, I need to go 2 holes deeper. Do you think I gained weight? And it's like, no, darling, your belt is lying to you. You know, you maybe, like, did you consider that maybe you are always 2 holes onto the left, but you just forgot. Like, maybe you are used to using a different belt. This is a belt from a different manufacturer. And maybe they have the holes different. That's what you need to do. That's how a good guy does it. John needs a good measure of spanking. Look at Divina. I'll be busy pegging nails into the wall. mechanic, carpenter, construction laborer, jar open, psychologist, best friend, breadwinner, lover. Yeah, no, but here's the thing, all right? Like what do gender roles really mean? It means like what type of man do women want? That's pretty much the question, right? Because if women all of a sudden would just want weak, scared, uncertain, like, all right, like the type of man that there's actually an interesting take, like when feminism was in vogue, and you had women saying like, as a man, you need to be a good listener. You need not to have self-confidence. You need to do what she says, like pretty much like turning a man into a pet. And there were men that became pets, and they were like, I can't find any girlfriend. And the feminist that I know is going out with the biker dude. What the fuck? And they were yet again being shamed. It's like, dude, you're... yeah, just because you're her friend doesn't mean she needs to give you sex. And I was like, oh, well, that's correct. Just because I had sex with you doesn't mean we're in a relationship. Like, okay, fine, whatever. My point is, if women would like the pet, like if women would like the doormat, all men in the world would become the doormat. All right? Like, women are the ones that get to shape how men behave in society. Because human beings want companionship. And when you want to find a significant other, if you're behaving in the way that women don't want, you're going to end up forever alone. For example, no woman wants a pervert. Like, women would more often go for the doormat than to the guy that keeps staring at her tits and has drool dripping from his lips. No woman would go for the guy that has drool dripping off his lip. So what happens is that you may be a teenager and you may not be an eye contact level master. So you're constantly staring at women's tits, you're commenting about them, you're smacking her ass, you're doing all the wrong things. You're going to notice that women avoid you like the fucking plague. So you're going to wonder, like, what do I need to do so that I can form a relationship with a woman? And you're going to look around, you're going to notice how other men act, and you're going to change that. And that's why you have gender roles. Like, gender roles means how to behave in a society so that you can attract the opposite sex. And of course, women have also to go through this. I mean, men are attracted into what they're attracted, and varies widely from culture to culture. So women are going to try to behave in a way that is what men find attractive. It's why women wear makeup and men lie. But what women find attractive is usually a man that's self-confident, that respects himself, that respects her, that is able to get a job, that is intelligent. Like, intelligence is like an aphrodisiac for women. This is why they appreciate humor, because you need to be intelligent in order to make good jokes. That is a good father, that knows how to raise a kid, is good around children. That's why women appreciate men that are good with the animals. And there's like a series of other things. Now, obviously, they're not going to find the man that fits the checklist, but the more things you fit on the checklist, the more likely is that she's going to like you. That is the same for women, when it comes to men. Thank you, Rustavios. I appreciate. This but a man's lot in life, but to suffer. I don't know if men are about suffering. From what I notice, when you're a teenager, you're going to have a hard time. I mean, if you live with your parents, you don't even have a car. And I said this a lot of time, you have low confidence. Unless you're in the football team or whatever, it's going to be very difficult for you to find a date and a significant other. And for women, like when they're teenagers, they have youth, they got a lot of beauty, they have flocks of men that are gathering towards them, they're in the center of attention, they don't need to do anything in order to get attention. And later on in life, when you finally manage to get a job, when you finally manage to get a house, when you get a car, and you get your life in order, then you have a lot of women, and you can actually date younger women. And for the women that lose their youth, that they're no longer as beautiful as they used to be, now they're lacking attention. So now the roles are shifted. Now the man has everything he wants, and the woman is the one that's struggling to get attention, and they think life is unfair, and they think that's why we need feminism and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of funny because I had this conversation with my cousin, who's like a raging feminist and a very progressive person. And she was complaining about how society, like when on the dating scene, how a woman looks is so important. And I was saying, well, why weren't you complaining about that? Because I lived with her in the capital. Like, I was looking for a job, and she had the place where I could stay. So we both lived together in the same 3-room apartment. And I knew like what she was doing, right? And I was saying, like, back then you never complained about it because you were a attractive woman, right? So back then you had nothing against it. And it's like, oh yes, but now things change. It's like, yeah, it changed because you don't have that power, and younger women have the power and you don't like it. So now you want to change the entire society. And it's like, it's not hypocritical. I mean, she's still arguing for her own interests. It's just that her interests changed from when she was younger to when she's now. And this is why you have like the sex positive feminists and the sex negative feminists. Like, the sex negative feminists are the ones that are older, or they're not pretty and they're not beautiful. They don't take care of themselves. So yeah, they hate the fact that there are other women. Like, if it was up to them, everyone should be dressed in a burqa. While the sex positive feminists, oh, they're the beautiful ones. They're like Emma Watson, and they're like, oh, well, I should be able to use my looks in order to get what I want. There you go. I explained feminism. I deconstructed. So let's see if I get any more questions from the chat before we're going to end this. It's already been more than an hour. Tactical Droid says it's hypocritical. Why is it hypocritical, Tactical Droid? I mean, to me, it seems like if you're a person that's poor, you're going to advocate for, you know, maybe you want welfare, maybe you want certain things to be done to you because that's your interest. But if you manage to, let's say, inherit a big fortune and now you're rich, oh, now you're going to advocate for less taxation. Now you're going to advocate for less things. Like, people usually want what's good for them in the present, and they advocate for that. Have you measured taints? I don't know what measuring taints is. Official wizard of New Zealand was just fired after 20 years. What is an official wizard? Let me check that out. So, official wizard of New Zealand fired. Ah! It's actually a thing. Oh my god, I'm going to put it in this week. You're stupid. So for more than 2 decades, the New Zealand city of Christchurch has annually paid thousands of dollars to the guy known as the official wizard. He's been paid $16,000 annually, about 260,000 US dollars for acts of wizardry and other wizard-like services. The council is grateful for the valuable and special contribution that the wizard made to the city. The council recently sent him a letter his services would no longer be needed, and his presence didn't fit with the new tourism message. I'm going to make it. Makes no difference. I will still keep going. They will have to kill me to stop me. He's going to conjure up spells, even though people don't want him anymore. Thank you, Political Defiant. I'll probably make. You know what? I'm not even going to make this into a This Week is Stupid article. Like, this is going to be a full-on article. You know, maybe it's because he didn't manage to protect the city from Australia for not sending their best. Maybe that's why. Popular tourist presence grew as New Zealand became known as the location where the Lord of the Rings movie were made. Look how the article is written. Look how the article is written, right? So, popular with tourists, it grew as the Lord of the Rings movies were made. They were ambushed. One deputy killed, 2 others wounded in shooting outside Texas bar. Mourners across political spectrum for UK lawmakers stabbed to death. And you're looking at this, like, it's almost like it's part of the same story. And it's like, maybe this is why they don't want the wizard. He failed to cast protection spells. He didn't cast mage armor. The council hasn't commented on another development, Channel's recent TV appearance during which he discussed his attitude towards women. I love women, I forgive them all the time. I've never struck one yet. Never strike a woman because they bruise too easily is the first thing. And they'll tell the neighbors and their friends and then you're in trouble. So, wait. Did they cancel him for saying this? Unfucking believable. So the problem, I suppose, is not that he doesn't strike women. I guess like the problem is that he chooses not to strike them for the wrong reasons. I mean, if they wouldn't bruise easily and if they wouldn't tell, he would strike them. Is this the problem? So it doesn't matter that he's not violent towards women, but it's the reasoning behind his non-violent approach. Unfucking believable. So if you don't want to be stroked by the wizard, all you have to do is, I identify as a woman. And he's like, curses! I was about to cast lightning bolt. Do you think he can cast sleep? And it's like, sleep women don't say no. Oof. Like, if he would have said something like that, I would understand why they would cancel him. But come on. He just named them V1 and V2. Right. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate the super chats. And I'll see you again tomorrow. If you're watching this channel for the first time, I always upload after I finished premiering the video on my main channel. So hopefully I'll catch you guys tomorrow. And until then,